Yo, good evening, viewers of the tube. My name is Tyler, and welcome to the channel we hope you come to love if you stick around and ignore my homeless look for the time being. You can pretty much compare us to a hairy Sour Patch Kid. At first we are sour, but then we're sweet. It's time for Chico Crypto. Today I have a roller coaster of a show. We will begin with some crushing pessimism, then flip gears and realize this is all just noise, and the long-term outlook of the markets is very optimistic. So, looking at the price chart of Bitcoin over the past 7 days, it was a perfect time to take a short vacation for the channel because Bitcoin retraced quickly to its most recent low of around 9,700 on August 15th, but has since slowly creeped its way back up in value each day to where we sit as of yesterday, just below 10,800. Overall, interest in crypto has been fading since a peak of nearly 14,000 in June, as seen from the Google Trends for the search term Bitcoin crashing down just like the price. From a bird's eye view, the markets are looking pretty damn pessimistic. Going over to the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, the market sentiment is now in the fear stage. The way the price has been moving may be one reason we are in the fear stage, but the legal proceedings with some major players may be another reason. 2 days ago, the decision was finally made by the New York court overseeing the Bitfinex and Tether case. Judge Joel Cohen dismissed a motion by Bitfinex to terminate the New York AG's investigation. According to court documents, the court finds, based on the evidence and applicable law, that it has jurisdiction and a clear statutory mandate to adjudicate this matter. Therefore, Bitfinex's motion is denied. This means we will most likely get a much deeper glimpse into how the Tether operations work, and hopefully figure out the level of fraud Bitfinex has conducted. To understand why this might make investors fearful, you just need to look at CoinMarketCap and see that Tether has more volume than Bitcoin. And then clicking into Bitcoin and looking at the markets, Bitcoin is traded against USDT for a large majority of all markets. So this is not good news whatsoever, because if Tether goes down, so does an entire ecosystem of crypto trading. How Bitcoin and the entire crypto markets would fare after a full Tether collapse is hard to comprehend. But you know what the old Warren Buffett quote says: to be fearful when others are greedy, and to be greedy when others are fearful. One thing about Bitcoin is that it is the honey badger of money.
Oh, that's nasty. Oh, they're so nasty.
And can take a beating and rebound right back. A Reddit post I like to reference back to help me bring back the optimistic view is titled "The Next Bubble. The 10K to 25K one will be epic and horrible." This post is from 4 years ago, after the last bubble, when Bitcoin hit 1,200, before crashing down to around $150. Back then, the markets took a major hit when Mt. Gox collapsed and became insolvent. At its peak, Mt. Gox made up between 70% to 80% of all trading volume, and it was hard to fathom that Bitcoin and the crypto markets could make a recovery. Yet, this guy made a post discussing why there will be another bubble. The author says, "We are at a situation where Bitcoin is becoming a precious, desirable, and scarce resource, but people just haven't realized it yet. And when they do, it won't be a slow and steady march upward. It will be a monumental movement that will leave our heads spinning. One day we'll go from 300 to 350, then in a week we'll be at 500, and positive news stories will start to flow. The public will take notice, then 800, 900, then 1,300, a new all-time high." The author pretty much called exactly how the last bubble played out. 2,000 to 4,000, 5,000 to 7,000. Then they predict that 10K will be reached, and that the next bubble might get all the way up to 28K before the next major correction. They then say, but bet your ass, if we get that high, people will be imagining that we will go all the way up to $1 million per coin ASAP, which as holders, many people thought. Looking at you, John McWiener Muncher. They then say, mainly, I want you to think about the world events that will have to happen to make this true, and what would have to happen to cause a major correction in the price from 25K per Bitcoin back down to 2,000 per. Which the last correction was 20K to 3K, so once again pretty spot on. They end the post by explaining wisdom is recognizing that history repeats itself and there's nothing new under the sun. Wealth is the end result of taking calculated risks based off your acquired wisdom. Now, what do you think the public's reaction to this post was 4 years ago when Bitcoin was around just $300? Cool fantasy, bro. Seems like there's going to be a lot of lube and Kleenex needed around here. Okay. The price is far more likely to go below 100 than ever hit the numbers you mentioned. Not going to happen. Meh, not really. With only a few people being supportive. User American Pegasus got shit on for their post, and rightfully so because the markets were not looking healthy whatsoever. But the future did play out pretty damn close to what they predicted. The harsh truth that the anti-Bitcoin and crypto crowd need to realize is the institutionalization of crypto is happening. We all know Bakkt has their launch date set in stone, just over a month away on September 23rd. This will be the first time for large, risk-averse institutions to buy and custody Bitcoin through an end-to-end regulated system approved by both the CFTC and the New York Department of Financial Services. Then there is the fact that the traditional financial system is starting to get sucked into the tokenized crypto sphere. We are now seeing the first IPOs, not ICOs, but fully regulated IPOs getting issued as ERC20 tokens on the Ethereum public chain. INX Crypto and Derivatives is issuing 130 million INX tokens, which will entitle its holders to an annual pro-rata distribution of 40% of the company's net cash flows from operating activities, meaning the tokens are both a security and a utility, and IPOs are getting sucked into the tokenized gravity well, just like every other asset class. That's just here in the US. Globally, the institutionalization of BTC and others has already been pushing full steam ahead in places like Japan. Rakuten, the electronic commerce and internet giant, just launched its own exchange for crypto spot trading directly against the Japanese yen. And even the Japanese government is spearheading crypto by creating a swift rival global crypto payments network that was just approved by the G7 last month. This is the first time we have seen such a large institutional push, and Bitcoin is above 10K. Even with the Tether collapse, another infrastructure is getting built, which can sustain the markets long term. I get some shit when I make the predictions that in the next bubble, Bitcoin will reach 100K. People say, cool fantasy, bro, not going to happen, and keep dreaming. All I have to say is let's see where we are in a few years. Cheers, I'll see you next time.